In a large, old house at the edge of the village, Cinderella works tirelessly. Her stepmother and two stepsisters treat her like a servant. She sweeps the dusty kitchen floor, scrubs the fireplace, and polishes shoes without rest. Despite the hard work and cruel treatment, Cinderella always wears a gentle smile. Cinderella carries laundry up the stairs when her tall, sharp-eyed stepmother calls her down. With a commanding voice, she hands Cinderella a long scroll of chores for the day, polishing the silver, weeding the garden, ironing gowns, and more. The stepsisters shriek with laughter and demand Cinderella wash their dresses for the ball. A trumpet sounds outside. The family rushes to the window. A royal herald on a white horse unfurls a golden scroll and reads the invitation to the royal ball, where the prince will choose a bride. Excitement fills the air. The stepsisters jump and squeal with delight, while Cinderella listens quietly from the shadows. That night, Cinderella retreats to the attic. She gazes out the small window at the stars and imagines what it would be like to wear a gown, dance under chandeliers, and feel truly seen. She sketches a gown in the dust on the floor with her finger, sighing. The next morning, Cinderella bravely asks her stepmother if she can go to the ball. The room falls silent. Then the stepmother and stepsisters burst into mocking laughter. "You, in rags? The prince would never look at you," they cackle. Cinderella lowers her head in quiet sadness. After finishing her chores, Cinderella sits in the garden under a weeping willow and begins to cry. As her tears fall on the ground, sparkles appear. A warm glow surrounds her, and a kind voice calls her name. A gentle, elderly woman with a wand and starry cloak appears. It's her fairy godmother. With a few flicks of her wand, the fairy godmother turns a pumpkin into a golden carriage, mice into white horses, and Cinderella's rags into a breathtaking silver-blue ball gown. Glass slippers form on her feet. Cinderella twirls, amazed. She's warned that the spell ends at midnight. Cinderella climbs into the magnificent carriage. The fairy godmother waves her off with a smile, reminding her, "Be home before the last stroke of midnight." The horses neigh, the coachman tips his hat, and they speed off under the starry sky. The palace is grander than Cinderella ever imagined. Marble stairs, crystal chandeliers, music floating in the air. As she enters, guests stop and stare in awe. The prince's eyes lock on hers, enchanted. He walks directly to her and bows. The prince and Cinderella dance as if no one else exists. The music swells as they twirl across the marble floor. Everyone watches in silence, amazed at her grace. Cinderella feels like she's floating. Suddenly, the clock begins to chime. Cinderella gasps, "It's midnight." She flees the ballroom, the prince calling after her. As she runs, one glass slipper falls off. She doesn't stop. Outside, her gown vanishes. The carriage becomes a pumpkin again. The next day, the prince sets out to find the mystery girl. He carries the glass slipper, determined that it will only fit the girl he danced with. He visits every home in the kingdom, knocking on doors and trying the slipper on many hopeful feet. The prince arrives at Cinderella's home. The stepsisters push each other aside to try first. One squeezes so hard her foot turns red. The other tries to stuff it with cotton. The prince sighs in disappointment. It doesn't fit either. Cinderella appears and asks to try. The stepsisters protest, but the prince insists. She sits gracefully, and the slipper fits perfectly. He smiles in joy. The fairy godmother's magic glimmers briefly in the background. The prince marries Cinderella in a grand celebration. She becomes a kind and beloved princess. The fairy godmother watches proudly from afar. Cinderella never forgets the lesson. Kindness, courage, and hope can change your life.